Oh, here's a good one.
Okay.
Still goodnewsnetwork.org.
Okay. Same website?
Yeah, same website.
Okay.
That's where I get all my good news.
And what's it called again?
Goodnewsnetwork.org.
Goodnewsnetwork.org.
Am I slurring?
No.
I could be.
I'm just reiterating it so
I'm crying.
I can remember. I've got something in my eye. I don't know if I'm getting emotional or
I'm just laughing so hard. The thought of 40 seagulls in a room shitting everywhere in a hotel, like,
can you imagine that?
That's the worst scenario
Just
ever.
like caca.
That's
Just like everywhere. Just
It ended with them giving him a new room for that night, and then he never was allowed back ever again. It was so funny. Lifetime ban, dude.
That's
By
weird.
accident. And by accident, he wasn't drunk. Well, he's probably drunk because maybe Canadian Navy.
How many pieces did he have?
40 pizzas?
So why did he have 40 pizzas for himself?
He was
There's
bringing
got to
him
be
back,
more to this story.
He was bringing him back to his buddies.
Sure he was.
He was really stoned. I don't know.
Like what? Okay.
It was Brothers Pepperoni in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and he... it doesn't say how many pizzas there were, but he had no place to put them, so he left them in his room with the windows open because they would stay cool, because it was April, I don't know, Nova Scotia. It was probably cold in July.
Do people generally worry about like the temperature when they get pizza delivered? What the room temperature is?
I've eaten pizza off a trash can in a
Like
dorm.
I
don't
know. Like
I don't worry about it.
Like come on, people. Like I mean, how many times at work have we eaten pizza?
That's just been out for...
It's been sitting out for God knows how long.
You show up for work and there's pizza on the table.
Yeah,
You're like, it's probably good.
It's just like I'm a man. I'm a slob. Like,
That'd be fine.
I've been single at some point in my life.
Yeah, I've eaten this before.
It didn't kill me then.
Here's another good one. Here's a good one. This is fun.
Okay.
Watch. God, I'm crying so hard. My nose is running.
Believe me. You're good. You're right there. That was a very tender moment.
I was
Right
laughing.
there.
I was laughing last night when I was sober. Granted, it was like 3 a.m., so it's worse. But
Yeah.
this is a fun one. Senior citizens delight in giving away bad advice from their old Coots Farmers Market booth. So these guys that always met senior citizens, the elderly, they met at a sandwich shop, a deli, and they, did what old people do. They sit around talking about life and experiences and stories, and you can't be old and wise if you're not first young and stupid. That's a saying.
I believe, and very true.
Very true. I'm gonna be very wise when I'm old if I get there.
Oh man,
You more than me.
I didn't think I'd live to be 30.
I also had my doubts.
40 was a revelation.
It hasn't reached 40 yet.
50 will not happen. I'm pretty sure.
You'll be there. You'll be fine.
So those of you that are out there right now, get as much of Heath as you can.
Well, so
Because it's going away.
that's what they decided. They were like, hey, we're gonna set up a farmers market booth, and it says free advice. Oh, it's what they say. It's something like free advice. It might be bad, but at least it's free. So something like that, right?
Yeah.
And the I'll post the link. The YouTube video is hilarious. It's a news report, and like people come up and ask questions, and they were shocked at how many like young people want to come up and get old advice.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is that shocking, because I was pretty young when all
It seems like a great thing, really. Like
so as people
why not go to somebody that's been through the fucking ringer?
right, been through it, yeah, right,
Yeah.
and doesn't have the there's nothing politically correct. Good thing you're on shock absorbers. That's good.
It's such a great recording.
Nothing politically correct about it, right? Because they're too old to be politically correct. Which would be weird when this generation of old people get old and then they're politically correct. That's gonna be awkward.
Well, and maybe there's something you said about that too. It's like the political correctness of the message. It doesn't skew the message at all. Like whether it's delivered in a politically correct way or not.
It's just
The message is the message.
Right.
It's whether they call, because these people you're talking to, they're from a different generation, and so what they say, if you label what they say as racist, bigoted, whatever, all this stuff, just shut up, because they're not that the majority of the time.
Right.
they speak a different language and they're from a different time.
Right. They're very blunt.
Yeah. And
More
the
frank.
and the message they're delivering is that's where your attention should be spent, is on the message, not on necessarily the language that's being used.
Right.
And maybe that's a big problem with the rest of everything that's going on is, pay less attention to the language that's being used, because if you're looking for something to get offended by, you'll fucking find it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, dude. So I was just two things. Ian Edwards had a really funny stand-up about don't watch the news.
Was that one of the guys you sent me?
That's what I sent you.
A
Yeah.
link. Okay.
And then there's another guy. I'll try to find it. If I find it, I'll put in the link.
Uh-huh.
Big Joey or something. And he talks about that. He's like, well, you can't say this word. It's offensive. He's like, well, words can't be offensive. The emotion and sentiment behind the word, that could be offensive.
Right.
But a word is like, I thought that's what that word meant. It's like, well, it means that, but you can't say it. You have to use this euphemism
Right.
for that word now, right? Because the common word is now offensive.
Yeah, Bill Burr does a similar thing where he, and I love him, where he says, like, you can say, like that Jew fucker or that fucking Jew. And and the way you say it, it's like it's saying the same thing.
Right.
But where you put that fuck or fucker makes a big fucking difference.
It's true.
No,
The subtleties.
I don't know if that was a pun but it was unintended.
Could have been.
Yeah,
Could have been.
it's it makes that makes a big difference in how it's interpreted. But it's the same message.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's just like sifting through, like taking that bullshit, like sifting it through like something like people looking for gold do, and just like getting like the meat out of it. Like
Right.
there's all this other little stuff that could
just ignore that.
yeah, they could they could piss me off or like offend me or blah 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 wah.
Right.
Whatever. Like the message is people be grown-ups and resilient. Okay.
That'd be nice.
But you can sift through all that stuff and get the meat of the message.
Yeah.
And whether it's and weird thing is like you can even do that with people who are historically fucking shitty people.
Oh yeah.
And still get some stuff that's good out of their message. That message may be directed towards some horrible thing that they're involved in, but if you take that message and if you just like reroute it and wrap it up in your own language towards your own cause,
Right.
same thing.
Yeah, you can avoid.
They're just
being
like
offended
they're
if you-
diametrically opposed like energies that are are being went for lack of a better word, but you can rewrap it up and use it in your own deal that you're going for. I don't know.
I agree. Yeah, and that's
Did
kind
that
of
make any sense at all? I'm sorry.
I
felt like
you
I
made
was.
sense to me. If someone has had
Okay.
3 Hemingway daiquiris, they probably understand
This
you.
is our podcast, so
We do it.
whatever.
Yeah, and we're not doing it for
You guys
views.
think we're stupid? Start your own.
Hey, that'd be fun.
Yes.
God, I'd love to see
If
something.
everybody could
if you
do
do
this,
start your own, send us a link. Like, we'll watch.
yeah, guys, and if you could, that would probably be like the best thing, because if you could start this, just like Luke and I did, we want people to talk. We want people to talk stuff out and like hear you say out loud the ridiculous things that we think. And because when we hear them out loud, that's the only time we understand how ridiculous it was what we said.
Right.
And it's like, and that needs to happen. You can't get pissed off, offended, or butthurt by it, because thinking out loud isn't a premeditated thing. It's completely organic. It just happens.
Right.
Like when you're voicing a thought out loud that isn't complete, what happens at the end of it, you can't take that and pigeonhole somebody from it. It's just they're working things out in their head.
And the worst place to do that is on a YouTube channel. So that's what we're doing.
It is, but but by doing that, like it's on the other hand of it, I think it's not going to pump us up and say like, oh, we're so brave or blah, 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 because that's a bunch of bullshit.
I'm not wounded. I'm not brave.
Yeah, we're completely cowards. But that's, somebody's got to step out and be like, okay, yeah, it's okay to think what you think.
Right.
And it's okay to like think out loud and be like, no, I had this thought. I'm not this, that, or the other thing. I'm just thinking out loud and I'm discussing stuff so I can better understand my own thoughts,
right,
where they come from, and hopefully, through that process, better understand, where somebody else is coming from too, because there's a saying that's very similar to it, but there's a lot of sayings like you can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself. You can't know thyself. I think it's a Stoic saying, know thyself before you know anybody else.
Right. Yeah.
Stuff like that. So you've got to attack the inside first. Mm-hmm. And if you hear something that sounds offensive to you or something like that, instead of lunging out and getting in somebody's face and stuff like that, attack your inside first about like, okay, where does that anger come from?
Oh, I was thinking about this today. If you want, are you done?
No.
So
this is
one of the wildest things I ever learned or heard. I'm not sure I learned it. I did learn it, I guess. I accepted it as truth. I didn't do any more. I did mild research. Mm-hmm. There's a train of thought that says anger comes from fear.
Heard that before. Yeah.
It's a fairly accepted train of thought, and it's. I like it because anytime I'm angry, I'm like, what am I afraid of?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Like, if this comes from fear, like, what am I scared of? And usually I can find something. I'm like, that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, is there like some uncertainty that I'm not prepared for? Or
right, exactly. I'm afraid of some consequence. I'm afraid of some possible scenario. And I think a lot of people don't either know that or think about it because so many people are outraged. Mm-hmm. Anger to the extreme, right? Like, I'm outraged. Like, that's worse than anger. Anger is just like, I'm mad.
Yeah, anger's here. Outrage is like,
right. Yeah. And it's just like, dude, don't just chill. Think about it. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you so outraged? And then, then maybe do something about it. Or most likely, most likely, you're gonna be like, it actually doesn't matter. So we were talking about old people. Well, if you want to go back, go ahead.
Can I give a shout out? I want to give a shout out to my sister-in-law, who I saw an instance of that, where
this is good news here,
where she seemed to be very upset about, and this was a local politician deal. I think it's a city council race or something, if I remember correctly. But she made a post on Facebook, and I don't want to say her name, out loud, either one of them. But it was, I was sitting back at the barbershop reading it, and I was like, this is like yes, this is good. She wrote out, and I know her because she's family. And she stated she made several attempts to contact this person and this person's office multiple times to try to get clarification on certain things that they had stated. And nobody in their office or anything had gotten back to her for a long time.
Right.
And so after waiting quite a while without anybody getting back to her with several requests for this information, she made a statement based off what she knew and what she had seen.
Right.
And she had given that person ample opportunity to back up what they said, to give the things that they said some sort of gravity, some sort of weight, and that was really cool to see. I'm from a family that is very deep into politics and very, very driven in that aspect. I'm not, but the passion that they have for it is, I respect the shit out of it because I just respect passion in general.
It deserves respect.
It's even and not speaking about them in general, because I mean there's some passion that's sort of misdirected. Not that theirs is. I don't think it is. I think what they believe in, I think is just and right. But some people do have some misdirected passion. But even if it's misdirected, there's still something to be respected about it, because not everybody believes in something.
That's true.
And if you do believe in something, and this is like where it gets weird, is like if you believe in something, it can be good or it can be like really fucking bad.
Yeah, you can believe in some bad stuff.
Yeah, but still, I guess I don't know where they draw the line on that. Is like maybe draw the line on that when it comes to like killing people that aren't like you. That's probably a good line to draw.
That's an easy line, yeah.
But anyway, that was great. That was something I read and I kicked back and I was like, well done. You did everything because I'm a critical guy. You did everything in my fucking ultra critical mind that you could have to give that person the opportunity to give a rebuttal, and without that, and even when she carried on, it was in a respectable way, and that was it was cool. It was cool to see. So, sis, well done.
Does she watch?
I love you.
Does she watch? Does she know? Or are you going to tell her to watch this episode?
I think she thinks I'm an alt-right. So, but anyway, I'm not. I just love. I love that stuff, and I love you, and that's it.
Good. Well, happy hour.
So that was a happy hour.
That was super happy.
That was great.
I loved it. High five. Very nice.
I did like a 360, 180, 360.
I think you did almost a 360, if I'm being honest.
Maybe what's 360 plus 180?
540.
It's two. God,
I snowboard, dude.
You're a fucking savant.
No, 540, 720, 900, 1080. After that, it gets weird.
Rain Man, when are you
making
our next drink?
I just watched the X Games. As soon as you finish yours. We were talking about old people.
Oh, yeah.
If you're still with us.
Yes.
If you're still with us.
They're my heartwarming story.
Old coots giving advice is what the sign says up top. Mm-hmm. And it says it's probably bad advice, but it's free, which is hilarious.
Uh-huh.
And I'll post the link so you can watch the video. It's a great video. These young people, which I relate to, because my grandparents died when I was fairly young.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely died before I had kids. I mean, obviously I don't have kids, so they definitely died before I had kids. But they died at a youngish age for me, because I was pretty late in the lineage. Both my parents are some of their youngest kids, and then my parents waited a while to have kids. So
yeah.
So there's a large portion of the population that doesn't really have grandparents as they go through stuff that previous to birth control, they probably already had kids. Like they probably had their own grandparents. Now, since birth control is so effective, you have a large population that doesn't have kids till way late in life. After they've gone to college, paid for college, found someone, decided, now's a good time, and then had a kid, right? Like, you're pretty late in life. You probably don't have grandparents at that point.
Yeah.
You're pretty late. And these elderly people who used to do their own talk, and they would just sit there and talk to each other, which is awesome and good for them, but not good for anybody else. They decided to set up a booth in a farmer's market. So old coots giving advice. It might be bad, but it's free. And the YouTube video is great. They lots of people go up and ask for like real advice, and they give them real advice. It's hilarious because it comes from old people who just don't care.
Yeah,
but it's good advice still. Like they're like, no, don't do that. And you're like, oh Jesus, all right.
Yeah,
but it was good. It was a fun. I'll definitely post the video because I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good. Made me miss my grandparents for sure. And other than that, there's a ton of.
It's funny with like older people. Well, it's just
we're gonna talk about old people because I love talking about old people.
like
We
my
need to have old people on the show.
yeah,
I have two.
You do?
Yeah.
What was that Aunt? What's her name? That you were over
Aunt
at
Sandy. I'm gonna send
Sandy.
this.
Can you tell us about Aunt Sandy?
She's.
God, I gotta get used to this.
Oh, you're out.
What?
Oh, you're out of a drink.
Yeah, well, you kept on bitching at me to finish it. Right.
That was the last one. I didn't.
Oh, you thought I was still on.
No, I knew you were on the first one. Now that I know you
Okay.
finished the second one.
So who's the bitch now, Luke?
Me, I'm on my third.
God, okay, it's still me. All right, okay.
And we can watch the clip back if you want.
So
No, my crazy
to get
Aunt Sandy.
video proof.
Crazy Aunt Sandy, we have
Yeah.
to get her on here. God, she's hilarious, and she has such great advice. And she'd be a prime candidate for happy
Yeah.
hour. She's happy all the time. She's wild. She's made me cry more than anybody in my life. Crying from laughing. Like,
Right.
Just cried and cried and cried. She's it's great. Yeah, we need some old people on the show. Texas, there's good news for those of us who care about the earth.
In Texas.
Good news in Texas.
It does happen.
Wind turbines deliver. Where'd the headline go? There it is. Wind turbines deliver more energy than coal in Texas, who is the largest consumer of coal in the U.S.
No shit.
Wind turbines. I thought they were a gimmick.
Well,
I thought they were just a bane on the horizon.
Well, that's interesting. Like, Texas would be like the number one, like, coal would be the number one source of energy in an area that's in the south and exposed to sun
And because they don't have nuclear.
365 days a year.
Right? It's not great. They could do
Yeah.
solar. Anyhow, it was good news. It was.
Uh-huh.
I was like, wow, go wind. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah,
this
who
whole
cares
time.
where the energy comes from? It's just that it's there.
As long as it's good.
Yeah. If it's a good deal, if it's sufficient,
I prefer nuclear,
know,
but I'm not picky.
sure. Yeah, any type of clean energy is that's what we should go for. I mean, of course, like there's got to be a transition period between where we use fossil fuels to where we go to energy that's 100% has 100% no emissions.
Right.
And that's, again, not to get into politics.
Why do you
I'm
always
not
do
gonna.
this?
Yeah, I'm not gonna touch on that. But there's a transition period, and so we should feel good about getting back to the happy hour.
Well, yeah.
We should feel good about instances like this where states like Texas, who are the butt of a lot of people's jokes for whatever they do in Texas.
It's not as bad as Florida.
Yeah, that something like that's been realized, and that's good, and that's something to be like. You shouldn't be like, oh god, those morons finally. They'd be like, yes, like we got it. That's a victory.
I
Okay,
think
so like celebrate the small victories. Because there aren't, especially like if you're someone that like works for like a nonprofit that's really like politically driven or something like that. The victories you'll get, they're few and far between. And so when you do, and I know that because I've worked for some of them. And so when you do get those, it's important that you celebrate them.
I think
Because
so. It's always important to celebrate victories.
because otherwise, like, why you in it? Like you want it, like you're in it to feel good. You're in it for the mission. So when you accomplish these small missions, you should be out in the fucking streets, partying, shotgunning beers.
That's what I do
Doing fucking great
on a regular basis.
doing great stuff, like high fiving your friends and things like that. Because like it's you win the small battles. The war, who the fuck knows how that's going to turn out? But just you focus on the small battles,
Right.
And that's a euphemism for life. You do that in life, and it carries forward to fucking a lot of other stuff. So
I like it. Here's a good one.
okay.
California professors place seesaws across U.S.-Mexico border so children can play together. And so my first thought was like, those poor Mexican kids, they probably got launched into America. What? This little chunky American kid goes and like bump. God. That was the first thing I thought. It was 3 a.m. Give me some credit. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, man, you got an American 5th grader.
You're just trying to picture it in your head, like how this is playing out.
In my head, it was like an American
Right.
7th or 8th grader, right?
Uh-huh.
And a portly one.
Right.
He was very happy and well fed.
That's good. I was that kid.
Right, you were fine. And look how you turned out. You didn't die yet.
Anyway, you have growth spurts.
Yeah. And then, like, some poor little Mexican pre-K sits on the other side and just bump. And it's like all of a sudden they're in all of a sudden they're on the American side going, like, gay?
What? Yeah. So read that headline one more time.
Gay sister. Oh, Jesus, I was dying. That was my mental picture. Just like, boom. Like, and we're back.
I'm trying to picture it in my own head.
Oh, here, I'll show you the picture.
Okay, read it.
There.
So they launched him over the...
No, they didn't launch him. Like, that's just my own head.
Okay, all right.
I just imagine some 7th graders like...
Well, but the picture, it's like it shows just the fence and like kids standing on both sides.
Well, they're seesawing.
Oh, is that legal?
Technically.
It's sure.
Kind of has to be. I mean, it can't be illegal.
It's true.
Not yet. Probably is now.
I'm being a real sourpuss.
Kind of are.
I
That's
am.
fine. Next chapter, you'll be happier.
I'm sorry, guys.
And yeah, that's a great article. But here's the good one. Here's the one we'll end on. And then maybe we'll make a real Papa Doble and film our next episode.
Because who knows how long we've been recording.
It's 2015, which is, I think, like an hour and 40 minutes.
I don't know that. Well, yeah, I guess because each time we restart, because that's like 28 minutes right there.
Yeah, we're definitely over an hour.
Yeah.
It's definitely. Some teen was awarded $50,000 science fair prize for his method of removing microplastics from water. Super good news. I'll post the link. It's very technical, boring. Microplastics are plastics that are less than 5 millimeters in diameter. And up until now, it has been impossible to prevent those bits of pollution from entering the oceans.
No shit. That's good.
Yeah, so he
That's
figured
gotta
out
be a good thing.
He figured out some way using his ferrofluid method. God, he's so much smarter than me. Like by a bajillion. He's gonna do big things.
Like I would be that guy in the back of the room that would be like, "Nerd, where's your computer, geek?"
Slap the book out of his hand.
Yeah,
right?
knock his hat.
Right?
And then like later on, be like, "Hey man, I think that stuff is really cool. Like, but
Don't tell anyone.
like, I'm trying to hook up with this girl in the third row, so." Yeah.
Dude, that doesn't work anymore. Your whole
Yeah,
approach
it
is
doesn't.
broken.
No. The guys like
me, you.
Guys like me, our age has come and gone. Like,
Oh my god, what was that
the
movie?
80s and 90s were our heyday, and
What was that movie?
that ship has sailed.
With Channing Tatum Jr. and Jonah. No.
Are you thinking about Can't Hardly Wait?
No, something Street.
Oh, 21 Jump Street?
21 Jump Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Can't
That
Hardly
movie-
Wait, like the douchebag that was like, Amanda.
No, 21 Jump Street, the movie
Yeah.
that absolutely puts that into film. Right? Like Channing Tatum's back, he's like one shoulder in it.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing your backpack on two shoulders? And all of a sudden, that's the cool thing now. They're like, oh, look, my eco-friendly Volvo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, I gotta pee, so should we
I think we're
wrap this up?
I think we're done. I think we should probably have some Papa Dobles, like some real ones, and maybe keep filming and see what happens.
Those were a lot stronger than I planned on.
You're no Hemingway, neither am I.
I am. Guys,
So-
the quicker you know that
Go ahead.
I'm what you would call a coward. The quicker you understand that, the less weight you'll give the things I say, and my ability to drink. So
You only had 2 martinis. What's wrong with you?
Luke.
You're like twice my size.
2 martinis.
And the drinks you had on the way over.
Just drink.
Drinks.
Okay, and
It was more than one.
I was.
Well, you drink 2 singles, you call it a double, and you only call it 1 drink, don't you? That's what you do. I only had 1.
How can I change the subject?
You're done now. You're the one with the alcohol problem.
The Subaru Outback is an efficient station wagon.
I'm so excited for our
got it.
skit.
Okay, we should just cut it right now.
Sure, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, that was happy hour. That was a total shit show on our end. I hope it was
It
good
was.
for you guys.
But these things will happen.
Routinely
love you.
for me. That's my life. Yeah, we love you guys. It was awesome. Please, more feedback if you have any in person or in the comment section. And thanks for watching. That was a wild episode, and we're gonna go grab some more papadobles and maybe film some more, and maybe like post a bonus drunk episode.
Yeah, and last but not least,
save the rhino.
yeah,
We didn't do any good news. You have to.
Okay,
Good news. Save the rhinos.
Guys,
Show some good news.
Thank you. Yeah, the black rhinoceros in South Africa, they've been under an incredible amount of pressure over the, since basically the turn of the century. But
Ernest Hemingway killed some, I bet.
he did.
I almost guarantee
And
it.
so did his sons,
Oh God.
who were.
Great drinkers, though.
But anyway, there's a lot of sides to this problem. There's a human side, a conservationist side, an animal lover side. It has multiple layers. There's some good things that are going on. Conservationist and former Gulf War veteran groups are starting up and going there and helping park rangers to do anti-poaching exercises. And as bad as it seems, there's a program that's showing a lot of success that's going around and cutting off the rhino's horns, where that might sound horrible at first, but if you do a little research on rhinos and the ecosystem that they live in, they have no predators.
I have a question.
With the exception of they get a little rough themselves when it's mating season, but they're pretty solitary animals, so they don't really interact with each other that much. So it actually it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't inhibit their ability to defend themselves or anything like that. And it's been fairly successful so far in limiting the number of illegal poachings. Luke.
So my question is, so they got horns, right? And let's go evolution. Let's accept that. How do they get horns if they have no natural predators? I want to know who's killing the rhinos, like back when they needed horns.
And that's a good question.
I want to know what animal that was, because that was probably amazing.
It's
Who can kill a rhino?
But it's funny and that's a good question, because the deeper you get into looking into how the rhino lives, its own biology and things of that nature, it's the horn, like it's portrayed as this large animal that's got natural armor and stuff like that. Its skin is actually incredibly sensitive. That's why it takes mud baths periodically throughout a day, because even mosquito bites can irritate it. So it's actually incredibly sensitive. Excuse me. It's incredibly
sad.
In tune to stress as well. There's been some studies that have linked it to being more stress sensitive than humans are, to the point where you could stress out a rhino to the point where it would just die.
That poor animal.
So it's it seems like kind of a paradoxical kind of animal in an instance, because it seems so big and brutish of like what could hurt this thing.
Oh yeah.
But when you look deeper into it, it's an incredibly sensitive animal. It's an animal that is really interdependent on each other, as far as, I think you and I have talked about its, the youth, that, those first 3 years of a baby rhino is critical. And that's why if they kill a female mother rhino, it's almost, you're almost killing like two.
I didn't know the girls had horns. I didn't know that until last episode of I Was Thinking.
I might sound, excuse me, I could be corrected. I'm not 100% sure if this is accurate, but I think the females, their front horn might even be larger, so they could even be more.
That would make sense. That would
actually
make sense.
But it's a tough deal, because when the female gets killed, if they can have one calf a year, and they could have up to, and those calves are dependent upon them for the first 3 years.
Yeah, they can have 3 kids at a time.
So if they have 3 calves and you kill one female, you've essentially killed 4.
Yeah.
and less organization.
That's
And
not
there's
happy hour. Go on with
It's
your good
it's
news.
not, but the happy thing is that there's organizations. There's an amazing group of former Gulf War veterans that have formed a group called VetPaw, which partners with rangers in the Kruger National Forest in South Africa, and there is Care for Wild South Africa, which is the world's largest sanctuary for orphaned baby rhinoceros also. And so there are organizations like that, and I'm just naming two. I'm just naming Wild Aid, does stuff like that,
Correct.
which we mentioned on our first episode. Those are just two organizations that, guys, they're all in. They're all in on this. And I want to address the fact that obviously there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world that we could put our energy into, that we could pump up to try to bring awareness to. But the majority of those things have time. The rhino does not.
Yeah, it's getting pretty
At the
desperate.
current rate, the rhino being killed 2025 would be would see the last of the wild black rhinoceros that weren't in zoos.
Yeesh.
So we're planning on that being the reality, and that's why some countries and some laboratories, like the one in Germany, I think I mentioned it to you,
Yeah.
that are doing some incredible research to do some Jurassic Park like shit, where
That went so well. I'm in.
they've saved sperm from some of the white rhinoceros that are, for all intents and purposes, extinct. I believe there's 2 left. They're both females. To try to artificially inseminate them with saved sperm from the past male white rhinoceros. But they've found out a crazy, incredible process where they can try to engineer simulated sperm from the dead skin cells of some of the
I
past
love
white
science so
rhinoceros.
much.
And so there's hope. We haven't lost. We might lose, but if we can do a little bit, maybe we can give them enough time to hold out, so we can find something else to do. Because I mentioned in our last episode, it's not a species that's just dying off because the world's changing.
Right.
And
Yeah,
they're
this isn't natural.
It's not a natural progression. It's just they're being killed faster than they can produce, and that's how it's been literally since, I think, 1906.
Jesus.
And it's a multifaceted problem, because unfortunately, just like in some countries, there's a surplus of elephants, and so that's even a tough one to make a comparison to. But the rhino only reside in countries that are, in horrible disarray, governmentally speaking.
That's really bad timing and chance.
It is, because when you have, and before you go judging the poachers too harshly, like yes, it's a crime. Yes, it's a premeditated crime, and so that it's premeditated by weeks of what they plan these poachings for. But put yourself in a country where the unemployment rate's 30 to 40%.
Jesus.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids in some instances, and
The child support on that must be horrendous.
And you are a proud man or a woman who wants to be able to put food on the table.
Right.
Your options are limited, and one way of limiting those options, not just by shooting the poachers on sight, which is some of the policies that are going in, that's been the most effective policy, is creating some sort of infrastructure and investment in business or something to put in, not just boost the economy, but maybe put an economy period.
Right. Yeah, like make one.
Yeah, in some of these countries, and that that would probably fix stuff at the root. of what it is, because it's it's never going to go away unless you address stuff at the root. It's kind of like dealing as a doctor, like dealing with disease and just fighting off the symptoms and not fighting off like where it's actually coming from. But anyway, so thank you for listening, guys.
Oh yeah, we're back. Yep.
I love you.
And cheers, and catch you next happy hour.
We'll be back.
All right, we will.